A very good morning to all of you. I'm delighted to be part of today's function, and let me express my sincere thanks to Ranga and Ram for taking up this initiative and driving it with passion. My thanks to Mr. N. Kumar, who approved this award in another capacity as National Chairman of the Awards Committee of CII. Chris, who's always been an inspiration because he's an entrepreneur par excellence himself. Mike, thank you for being with us. Venu and the business line, Sridhar, Grant Thornton, and all those who participated, thank you very much. Let me start with a quote. Entrepreneurs innovate. Innovation is a specific instrument of entrepreneurship. It is the act that endows resources with a new capacity to create wealth. Very aptly captured by Peter Drucker. And we find that entrepreneurship is not unknown in India. I'm told 18% of our people are entrepreneurs. This figure is reasonable, but it is of concern because many of them run one-man shows, and we'd like to increase this further. The IT boom certainly brought in a lot of entrepreneurship, but I think there are some areas and shortcomings which need to be recognized. I think one is we do not have enough, I'm told, of venture capitalists or angel investors. People really like to invest only in ongoing companies rather than startups. Lack of mentors has been an issue. I think young people, especially coming out, need mentors. In this area, CII had taken some initiatives already. We brought out the Star Trek Profiling 101 Successful Entrepreneurs in Tamil Nadu, a book on innovators, and this year, I think, a coffee table book on success formula, biography of 30 successful entrepreneurs from across the southern states is coming out. My request would be for all the people in these books to be mentors and guides for the younger generation. Another challenge which we see is as a society, we are risk averse. I think most people would rather have long-term and stable employment, such as with the government and in the public sector. Also, there are deficiencies on infrastructure, social attitudes, lack of capital, and lack of government support, which all hinder entrepreneurship in this country. Majority of the young people in this country, as we know, are all jumping into the IT sector, depriving practically every other section of our economy of good talent. I think we need to market this as something which is more glamorous, which is something which needs to be done so that they would also come into entrepreneurship and innovation. When you look at the whole thing of entrepreneurs, I think there are some questions which come to mind. What exactly is it that sets entrepreneurs apart from the rest? What is it that makes certain people believe in themselves enough to take the prospect of failure head on and have the determination to come on top? It takes a special kind of person to set an idea in motion, riding the highs and lows from a humble beginning to ultimate success with a lot of failure in between. The entrepreneurial spirit is a gift that inspires others to become the best they can. And from passion and positivity, it leads to leadership, ambition, and success. There are a few attributes which I'd like to enunciate very briefly. Passion. I think Richard Branson, founder of the Virgin mega brand, is absolutely passionate about what he does. And he says, businesses are like buses, there's always another one coming. I'm told this also applies to girlfriends. I'm not very sure whether it's appropriate in this platform. Positivity. Jeff Bezos knows the power of positive thinking, living by the motto that every challenge is an opportunity. Bezos has set up the world's biggest bookstore from a little internet startup, Amazon. Adaptability, how we adapt to our strengths, is one of the requirements of an entrepreneur. Every successful business owner must be willing to improve, refine, and customize the service to continually give customers what they want. Google founders Sergey Brin and Larry Page take this concept a step further by not just reacting to changes but leading the way. And as we know, Google is one of the world's best known and most valued companies today. Leadership. I think Bill Gates of Microsoft embodies everything, how we took the computer into every home by providing us the wherewithal and also encouraging this internet revolution. I think the whole world changed because of the vision of Bill Gates and his leadership. Ambition. I think two people and my personal favorites here again. The two Steves, Jobs and Wozniak. They were not the first Palo Alto company to start in a garage. It was actually Hewlett Packard. But they had the same dream of how to democratize computing. It was always in the defense and the American universities, really, even in the 70s when many of us were in college in the US. They brought it down where it was so easy, the various Macs which came out, the iPods, the iPad, whatever. They made it so universal. These are some international examples, but it does not mean we do not have entrepreneurs in India. There are two outstanding people sitting here, like I said, Chris and CKR. The Tata Nano is something you can see. Carson Bai, who took on Hindustan Levers with Nirma. Many of our friends, including my friend Shivakannan, who's sitting here, who's a very quiet man, who's a leader in his industry in Karur. Across the country, you have the Godreges, the Premjis, the Chettiar community, who revolutionized finance in this part of the world. I think a lot of things is happening here, and a lot of it is driven by innovation. I think without innovation, entrepreneurs cannot be created. And in this, I must compliment the government of Tamil Nadu for bringing out its Vision 2023, the document which focuses on making Tamil Nadu as an innovation and knowledge hub. This is something which we see happening across the South. I think every state is focusing on this, and I think what has happened in Tamil Nadu is a way forward for all of us here. I think the time has come where Indian entrepreneurs will be ruling the world with their innovative products and services. My heartfelt congratulations to all the winners. My sincere thanks to all of you who took part. I don't think there are any losers in this process. And in conclusion, I'd like to state something which really struck me. A real entrepreneur is somebody who has no safety net underneath them, and every one of you entrepreneurs is a living example. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ashok. May I invite Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan of Infosys to say a few words, please. And you know, Chris was one of the co-promoters of Infosys, who has put in so much efforts to make what Infosys is today, and the leader in the IT services across the globe. We are very happy and proud to have you, Chris.
Thank you, Ranganath, and good morning to every one of you. First of all, let me congratulate all the participants, all the winners today. As Ashok said, you're all role models, and it is very, very important for us to celebrate your success, project you as role models. And I want to also thank Business Line and Venugopal for bringing out the supplement. I think you do that weekly, right now, on emerging entrepreneurs. You know, one of my pet peeves is actually that newspapers only project disasters, bad news all the time. You know, that's what makes the headline. And at least one day a week you've decided to actually showcase successes. I think that's nice. I think we need more such examples because that's what makes actually a difference. Yes, bad news makes good reading, but you know what makes a difference, and as Ashok said, what creates jobs, what creates wealth, what changes society, what brings new innovations to our life is innovation, entrepreneurship, etc. I'm also glad that CI expanded the awards and took it to the regional level. I know that Ashok wanted to have this function before he stepped down. He was insistent that that shows his actually passion for CII. He's somebody who actually is a perfect role model for who could be a CII office bearer actually. perfect role model for a CI office bearer. I want to talk about two things, and both actually arise from this question: when is a good time to be an entrepreneur? First, when do you become in your life? When do you become an entrepreneur? Do you do this straight out of college? Do you do this after having a little bit of experience, or do you do that when you finished your first career and you're now looking to see what else can you do in life? You've well to do, and you want to decide now what else can I do now? How can I make my contributions even more? There is no time actually. You can be an entrepreneur anytime. Now, having said that, I also want to propose something here. And it's also prompted suddenly by Sri S. Ramanathan passing a note to me actually while I was sitting there. When is a good time to be an entrepreneur? When you're a student in a college, even if you get 1,000 rupees, somebody gives you 1,000 rupees and says, every month I will give you, I want you to do a project, I want to come out with some innovation. Actually, you are thrilled. You will work passionately. You will work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're not worried about anything at that point. Typically, the family supports you or somebody supports you. Now, if we can leverage that and create an ecosystem within the college or some of the colleges, I think we will go a long way in creating a culture of entrepreneurship straight out of college. I think Venu talked about measuring the number of entrepreneurs created. Our colleges do not do that. Actually, very few colleges talk about it. And we talk about papers, we talk about patents, but we don't talk about how many businesses were created out of our colleges. Now, the same student, the minute he gets a degree in his or her hand, actually is now satisfied with any amount of money that is given to him or her. Then people talk about, is my pay package 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, do I get a placement outside India, etc., etc. But while you're in college, even 1,000 rupees goes a long way. It just tells you that with a small incentive, you can actually create large number of entrepreneurs in the college. So it's a proposal from me. At least some colleges, if they can actually create an incubator during the period when they're students. We have some time allocated for projects, etc. But say that I want you to do a startup. Even if it fails, it doesn't matter. You come out and take up a job. But that's probably an experiment worth trying. The second point I want to make here, and again arising from the same question, when is a good time to be an entrepreneur? I think right now is a good time to be an entrepreneur. Because huge transformations are happening driven by information technology. I firmly believe that the next 10 years are going to be even more exciting than the last 30 years, the last 60 years. Digital computer was introduced in 1945, so it's not too long back. But the next 10, 20 years are going to be even more exciting. We are going to see amazing changes, amazing power in the hands of the individual in the future. I first started using a computer in 1977 in IIT Madras, not too far away from here. That was the second largest mainframe computer in the whole of Asia at that point. It occupied one full floor of the building. You enter the computer center, you will have 30, 40 cart punch machines, noisy machines, then there is an operator room, and then inside you will see the CPU with lots of lights flashing, etc. The smartphone that is there in our pocket today is actually 1,000,000 times more powerful, 1,000,000 times more powerful than that mainframe. So you can imagine how much power is in our hands, in the individual's hands. With cloud computing, I can say that you have infinite processing, infinite storage, infinite bandwidth at almost zero cost. And this will change every single industry. We've already seen how it impacts industries like music and publishing, etc. But even when I look at the next 10 years, healthcare, entertainment, banking, every industry with one initiative, to look at mobile cash, for example, we are able to provide credit facilities to 750 million people in India. The penetration of credit card is less than 5%, 50 million probably. Whereas with just one initiative of actually allowing mobile cash, you are able to provide credit facilities to 750 million people. Anybody who has this phone, we are able to do that. That's transformation actually. That's revolution in making. And that's what is feasible with the technology that is there. When such huge shifts happen, when something that is as powerful as this is in the hands of every individual and it's affordable, then only your imagination is a limiting factor in terms of what you can do with that technology, how you can transform and revolutionize industries, etc. Again, let me give you an example, two examples very quickly actually. A professor in Stanford decided to offer a class online. Typically in a classroom, you have 200 students or maybe 100 students participating and taking the class. 160,000 students signed up for the class. 160,000 students signed up for the class. It's Principles of Artificial Intelligence, Sebastian Thrun offered that. 25,000 or 26,000 students completed the course and got certification. So he actually gave a credit, and several universities actually have started recognizing this, and they said, we will not offer principles of AI. You take this class, we will recognize that certification. Now they have launched actually a separate university called Udacity and are offering courses. Of course, it will no longer probably be free, and but it's still amazing in terms of the change that happens in education. Let's say, few courses are offered around the world like this, then we can actually enhance our engineering colleges in one shot and change the way we do teaching. Rural banking, with the correspondent model that we have in India, we are taking banking to the home of the poorest of the poor people. Our traditional model is bank comes to our home when we are rich and wealthy. Whereas in India, we flipped the model and said, a correspondent with a mobile phone will come to your home, do the banking transactions. A correspondent can manage maybe 20, 25 accounts, maybe spend 4 hours a week doing this. And it's a fantastic economical way in which you can take banking to the poorest of the poor. Because traditionally, a branch was not affordable to be set up in these places. But this allowed banking to be taken to the remotest areas, and it enabled through using a mobile phone. And using a mobile phone, you can do transactions. I talked about credit card on the mobile phone, etc. This is what is feasible, and this is going to change healthcare. Every industry that I can think of will get changed, impacted, and our imagination will be the only limiting factor. And this is why I believe this is the best time to be an entrepreneur. People who have imagination, people who have the will, the passion, who want to change the world, who want to change industries, who want to bring new capabilities, new functionality, new benefits to individuals can actually indeed do it at this point. So let me conclude by saying, as usual, CI wants to celebrate entrepreneurs, celebrate job creation, celebrate wealth creation, celebrate role models in society, be part of the growth story of India. And I'm looking forward to actually the award ceremony. Congratulations again to all the participants and all the winners. Thank you.